Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker. We're going to be talking about how anger can ruin your real estate game. Yes, it can definitely derail your real estate investments. Listen, anger is a very powerful emotion, but it can be very destructive if it's not handled responsibly, especially when it comes to real estate investing. The stakes are really high, so maintaining a cool, level head is crucial. You know, anger is something that can definitely cloud your judgment, and unfortunately, sometimes it can have you making some very costly mistakes. All right. So listen, when you're angry, there are times when during that particular time, you might make some impulsive decisions that can lead to bad investments, such as overpaying for properties or rushing into deals without doing proper due diligence. Anger actually narrows your focus and reduces your ability to consider all aspects of a situation objectively. Now, what some people do is they'll have a checklist so that whether they're angry or they're not angry, they can always look at that piece of paper and say, okay, check this, check that, check the other, check, 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 check. And that helps them. However, sometimes certain words or certain statements, phrases, or whatever are made due to the fact that, like each property is different and there may be a unique aspect to it that your check mark on your piece of paper may not necessarily cover. So that's why you got to keep yourself in check when you are angry. Another thing is this: anger can definitely damage relationships, either with your business partners, your tenants, bankers, utility contractors, you name it. And there are people out here that, you might not even necessarily be angry at them per se, but you're angry at something else. You take it out on them without realizing that you're doing it, and they will be vindictive and get back at you and hurt you. I've seen it happen. Let me give you an example. For example, okay, you want to get a loan modification, right? But somebody pissed you off before you even got to the bank. So you go to the bank, you speak to whoever it is that you need to speak to, the banker, what have you, and you're rolling your eyes, not realizing it. You're giving them attitude. You think they're going to modify the loan for you? They might, but they may not be willing to accept whatever terms that you want. So then your negotiation skills, your negotiation skills are not going to be up to par, and they're not going to want to hear it. Now, if you tell them, look, I'm a little angry, I need a moment, but I do need this done at the same time, because, I've been in those situations, right? Then they'll be a little bit more understanding, but that doesn't always happen. There are a lot of people who will just go in like a bull in a china shop, and people, like I said, they'll take it personally. They don't know that something happened to you on the way over, and they're like, oh, this is a mean person, this is an evil person. And there are people who will, purposely make things harder for you because you are that way. But you're only that way during that particular time because you're pissed off. You're not that way all the time. So that's why you have to watch yourself so that, you don't make a decision that's poorly thought out. you want to make sure that you don't make a decision, because later on, even like, let's say your business partner, you might really like that person. You guys probably are working together well. It's just that this one particular situation where you just blow up on them, they're like, okay, as soon as this contract is over, I'm out. Or they might be going to the lawyer the next day and be like, okay, we need another contract. We need to renegotiate everything because I don't want to work with this person. Or they may not put in the work that needs to be done because you blew up on them. And what the problem was, you were just angry just that one time. You know, same thing with tenants, even neighbors. There were these neighbors that used to live in my area. They were kids, and they threw the ball and it hit me in my face. So I got pissed off and I just was very angry. I didn't curse or anything like that because they're kids, but in retaliation to the way I went off, they went and purposely broke one of my windows. I don't have proof, but I know they did it. It may not have been one of the kids. It may have been the kids' parents, but that's another story. Anyway, I went to replace that window and I was told, you can't replace just one window. You would have to replace 5 windows. So I was like, oh man. So this is what I'm saying, that sometimes your anger can cost you money. All right. Another time I was angry. I was actually angry at the wrong person for a long time and I didn't know. See, I bought a note from a company through my mentor. And there was paperwork that was missing, but it was my first note, so I wasn't aware of the paperwork that was missing. And then even the paperwork that I was given, it wasn't done properly. In a mortgage note, after you have the terms and agreement in the note, there's something called the assignment page. And the last assignment page was assigned to me, or my company rather, but the previous assignment pages were assigned to someone else. Again, it was my first note. I didn't know, but my mentor should have known and she didn't. And then the people who sold it to her to give to me, they should have also caught it, but they didn't. So anyway, I'm here getting mad at the homeowner, angry at them because they didn't pay the taxes on their property. And it turns out that the reason why they didn't pay their taxes is because it was what do you call it? A COD. So I actually was the one that was supposed to pay the taxes. And I didn't know that because I wasn't told from the beginning. Okay. And I went off on her when in that particular situation, I was in the wrong. So because of that, I didn't receive the mortgage payments. I didn't receive any mortgage payments at all the entire time. Then the other thing that happened was they had another contract that they had misplaced. The homeowner misplaced the other contract saying that the mortgage was supposed to be this amount. And the person that sold the deed to me, to my mentor to give to me, they did not have that paperwork in the mortgage note papers whatsoever. So my attorney found out about it and she says to me, you know what? This is what I found. And she says she looked at the house and she was saying to me, are you sure you want this house? I was like, well, I don't want to live there, but I did pay for it. So they should give me the mortgage or move out, right? And once they move out, then I do whatever I want. Then she was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, why is she asking me that? See, when I bought the property, it wasn't in great condition, but it wasn't in the best condition, put it that way. And the value of the home, it was decent. Okay, it was definitely a lot more than the note that I paid. But she said to me, listen, you're going to take them to court. This is my fee. Then you got to pay the court fee. Then you got to come down. So that's airfare and hotel. Then you got to go fix that house. With all of that cost, is it worth fighting for the house? And I never really stopped and paused. I was just so angry at the fact that I wasn't getting the money, angry at the fact that they was like tearing up the house. They had like 5 dogs in the house I didn't know. I mean, she told me that she had dogs, but I didn't do enough research on it. And at the time when she said, just give it up, I was like, nah, I want my money. I want my money back. But you know what? I ended up settling. I ended up not getting my money back because I finally sat down and I added up the costs. First of all, I also realized that the homeowner really wasn't the one that really burnt me. The one that burnt me was the person who sold the note to my mentor. So both the seller and my mentor burnt me. The homeowner was actually burnt by the seller. So we both, in a way, lost. But the court would have given me that house, but it wasn't worth it. Because after fixing it up, paying the court costs and everything else like that, I would have spent more. And the value of the house, yes, it kept going up, but it wasn't going up high enough so that when I fixed it up, I would have got my money back. I wouldn't get the court cost money back. I wouldn't get the taxes that I was paying. I wouldn't have gotten that money back. All I would have gotten back was the money from between like the sale of the house and the cost that I put into it. Now, if I were to hold on to the house, it would have taken me maybe like 5 years or so to see a return. And with what I wanted to do and with where I wanted to go, I just didn't feel like it was worth it. I really didn't. Plus, on top of that, when you buy a note in another state, you got to register that note. You have to register your business in that state if it's a COD. So that's even extra money. But if I wasn't so angry and if I didn't let anger cloud my judgment and I listened to my lawyer at that particular moment, I could have saved, let's say, $3,000. But instead I kept on going and I lost an extra $3,000. So that's why I say you got to be careful with your anger. And I'm telling you guys that you can definitely, I lost money and I know that you can as well if you don't have it checked, and have it checked as quickly as possible, even though it is a natural emotion. Okay. The next thing too, anger can definitely increase your stress level, especially if it's prolonged for a long period of time. It can have a negative effect on your health. It can also lead to legal problems. Let's face it, everybody who's been in real estate at one time or another, we thought about killing somebody. And there have been cases where that has actually happened. Okay. Where, and sometimes not even so severe, you can actually get into problems. You can actually have issues. There have been in New York cases where landlords have gone to jail for doing things to their tenants because they were angry. Okay. If you remember too, there's another YouTuber who actually is in Detroit, where there was this family from Australia. They were buying tax liens over there, and they bought and won on one particular property. I don't remember if they went to the court to foreclose like they were supposed to or not, but I know that they knocked on the door and they told the people to move out, and the people took a gun and shot them. So, yes, you got to be careful, not only with your anger, but you need to be careful when you know that you might make someone else angry, because you don't know who they are and how they're going to react to whatever it is that you say or do. All right. So what is it that I advise in general? My takeaway is that you take a step back when you're angry. Take a step, breathe, meditate. If you have time to do some meditation, meditation doesn't really have to be long. Like, it doesn't have to be 20 minutes. If you have it, take it. Otherwise, just 3 or 4 quick, deep breaths. All right. If you have a therapist on call or a life coach on call that will answer you during emergencies, definitely take advantage of that. If you have, I've mentioned I'm a Christian. There are Bible scriptures. One particular one is Proverbs 16:32. I'll share with you guys. It says, "He who is slow to anger is better than a mighty warrior. He who rules his spirit," meaning he who has self-control, "is better than one who takes on a whole city." All right. That just resets. So now, for others, that might not reset you. There is something called a topical Bible, where you can look up the word anger and it'll show you like all different scriptures that relate to it. Pick one that'll reset you. If you're not a Christian, then there's a quote from somebody somewhere that you admire. Write it down somewhere. Write it in your phone. Go to the note tab area. Write it in your phone so that whenever it happens, you can quickly go to that particular quote and read it. And then there's also apps that give you quotes, daily quotes as well. You can open that up, and that might also help you out and reset you. Next, songs. Now, the go-to song for me is DMX. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Yes, that song, first of all, not only is it catchy, it resonates with me deeply, plus it's kind of hard to listen to that song and sit still. It makes you move, and because it makes you move, makes me move anyway. Movement is a way of shaking it off. Okay, and when you shake it off, then that kind of calms your nerves. That kind of calms you down. If you are not into that kind of music, then find a song. And guys, feel free to share a song and scripture or quote that resets you once you get angry. As far as gospel, then it would be Cooling Waters by the Williams Brothers, and also Dwayne Woods. He has a song. Now this song is a little slower. It's called Let Go and Let God. All right. Next, cry. Now I have to admit I haven't cried in a while, but I'm learning to let that go. I'm easing back into that, but crying for some people helps. Crying can help some people. It'll prevent them from killing you or killing others. So don't be afraid to cry. Now, I would say go to the bathroom and close the door when you do it, not necessarily like do it, I might be wrong for saying that, but yeah, I'm not one to do it in front of other people too much, even though I have done it on YouTube. I forgot about that video I did a long time ago. Anyway, moving along. The next thing is tap into your network. I've been around for a while. You have friends that are in real estate, or associates or somebody. Somebody who's in real estate. 25 years for me. Give them a call, speak to them, let them know what's going on, let them know what's happening, let them know about the deal you're about to look into. And they can give you some advice that'll help you out. Once you finish with doing all of that, consider all of your options objectively. All right. Look at every T and every I. Make decisions based on thorough financial analysis and not your emotional impulse. So with the financial analyst, yes, you will need to break out that calculator and run the numbers. You really should have run the numbers before you actually sit at the table, but that's another story. I know a lot of people don't. There are some people that they have an accountant. Some people have some people I found out they actually hired a financial advisor that all they do is sit down and break out the numbers for them. But when you're starting out, you might not have that ability. So you want to just take the time out and go through the numbers, but don't just go through the numbers once. Do it maybe twice, 3 times to make sure that, whatever numbers equal whatever your requirements are in order to do the deal that you want. And then listen, the other thing that's very important too when it comes to some of these contracts, you know what I'm going to say. If you haven't listened to me, if you've listened to me before, I'm going to say, make sure your attorney goes over it. Because even if you understand every single word, and a lot of times, let's face it, you don't. But even if you understand every single word and it's only 2 pages that you're signing, it's still good to give it to an attorney, because then the attorney will say, okay, this contract is missing this paragraph and that paragraph and the other paragraph. Okay. So that's why you need your team. That's why you need a team. Okay, regardless of whether you're just starting out or if you are in the business for a while. That's my 2 cents as far as how to be successful in real estate, because I know that you gotta stay cool under pressure in order to make rational, profit-driven decisions. Okay, So, guys, that's all I have. Feel free to pass this amongst your friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.